This is going to be video number 106 on your Firearms Defense channel. Tonight I want to comment on the horrible tragedy in Aurora, Colorado, where I believe there were 12 dead and 58 injured as of the latest count. Now, I don't like horrible tragedies of this sort any better than anybody else, and I would do everything I possibly could to prevent them if I would or could. But in all honesty, we need to put this in some sort of perspective, and that's what I want to do in this video. I want to put this into the proper perspective, or some sort of other perspective. Now, as bad as it was that all of these people were killed and injured, I'm not afraid of the occasional predatory shooter like this. I'm not as afraid of that happening as I am of the government. Government oppression and government dictatorships and death squads and all government activity has killed far more people than any of these people will ever kill. The occasional person like this doesn't do anywhere near the harm that the government does. As you know, on video number 100, I made video number 100 about the DVD, called Innocence Betrayed, and it gave a toll of government oppression and the history of dictatorships and communism and all of these governments, and it was appalling. The toll from this activity was in the millions. Now, what this means is we have tragedies like this, and whenever we have this sort of tragedy, there's always renewal and more call for more gun control and confiscation of firearms and everything else. And as a practical matter, what this means is that when we get to that stage, when everybody finally decides to surrender responsibility for preventing this sort of thing to the government, what's going to happen is the government will pass their laws, everybody will surrender their firearms, and then the government will take over and they'll do whatever they want to do. If you have wealth that they want, they'll take it. There's nothing to prevent it. If they don't want you around, they'll ship you off to a FEMA camp and execute you and grind you up for fertilizer and do whatever else they want to do, just like Nazi Germany did with the Jewish people in World War II. Now, let's put this perspective into tragedy. Now, what would really be good to prevent this? Well, have a front sight shooting academy in every state in the nation. Start training the population. Have a goal of having 20% of the citizens carry. And when you have that happen, these sort of things won't happen. I guarantee you, if I would have been a resident of Colorado, I would have a concealed carry permit if I were a resident of Colorado. If I would have been there, I would have been carrying. And if I would have been there, he could have all the bulletproof gear that he wanted on, because it wouldn't have done him any good. I would have dumped a magazine right through that gas mask, end of story, no problem whatsoever. So that's what we need to do realistically to start preventing these things. The gun control laws and the gun confiscation and everything else that a lot of liberals and gun control advocates want to do is only going to cause a worse problem, and that worse problem is going to be a government takeover and restriction on our freedoms, and our freedoms are going to be severely curtailed. And I'm very much sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. I mean, I hate to be the one to give everybody the sad news on YouTube, but unfortunately, you're going to have to restrict freedom completely and totally, and no, that's the only way you're ever going to prevent things like this from happening, and even then it won't prevent it. I mean, I'm sure the 100-round drum he had was illegal, and not to mention it's illegal to kill people to begin with, and those laws didn't do any good. And by the way, where's this SWAT team? Where's this police state that we've got right now? Where were they when all this was going on? There was nobody around to help the people out. All the police, state, and the SWAT teams and the police activity we have, there was nobody around. So in the end, that's it. You know, if we want Second Amendment rights, if we want freedom, and if we want to be responsible for our freedom, things like this are unfortunately going to happen occasionally. And if we want to do something about it, the solution is the armed citizen. People encouraged to carry, people encouraged to know how to use their weapons, people encouraged to take responsibility for their own safety when something like this happens. This is Firearms Defense signing off on video number 106. I'll see you on video number 107.